Have you ever replayed a single conversation in your head over and over again, analyzing every word, every tone, every pause, wondering if you said something wrong or if you could have said something better? Because people who think too much do not simply experience life as it happens. They dissect it, they examine it, and they live inside their minds far more than they live in reality. People who think too much are often highly intelligent and deeply aware, noticing patterns, details, and meanings that most people completely overlook. And while this ability can make them insightful and perceptive, it also creates a constant stream of thoughts that never truly stops, because their brain is always searching for deeper understanding, even when there's nothing left to understand. At the core of overthinking, there is usually a strong fear of making the wrong decision, not just a simple mistake, but a decision that could lead to regret, judgment, or failure. And because of this fear, every choice becomes heavy. Every option feels risky, and instead of acting, they remain stuck, analyzing possibilities that may never even happen. They constantly ask themselves questions like, what if this goes wrong? What if they judge me? What if I regret this later? And these questions do not bring clarity. They create loops, endless loops that keep the mind busy but never satisfied, because the brain is trying to find certainty in a world where certainty does not exist. People who think too much also tend to be emotionally sensitive, feeling things more deeply than others, where a simple comment can stay in their mind for days, and a small mistake can turn into hours of self-criticism, because they don't just feel emotions once, they replay them, relive them, and analyze them from every possible angle. This emotional intensity makes it difficult for them to let go, because their mind treats every experience as something that must be understood completely. And this leads to anxiety, not because they are weak, but because their mind is constantly active, constantly searching, and constantly trying to protect them from pain. Overthinking also creates an illusion of control, where they believe that if they think long enough and hard enough, they can predict outcomes and avoid negative situations. But instead of gaining control, they lose it, because the more they think, the more uncertain everything becomes, and the more questions they create. One of the biggest struggles they face is taking action, because action requires accepting uncertainty, and uncertainty is exactly what their mind is trying to eliminate. So they hesitate, they delay, and sometimes they miss opportunities, not because they are incapable, but because their thoughts are holding them back. Their mind is always active, even when they're supposed to rest, thinking about the past, worrying about the future, and rarely feeling present in the moment, which leads to mental exhaustion, a kind of tiredness that sleep cannot fix, because the problem isn't physical, it's mental. Stopping overthinking is difficult because it feels useful. It feels like preparation, like protection, like a way to stay in control. But in reality, it often does the opposite, because it drains energy, creates stress, and prevents progress, while giving the illusion of productivity. The truth is that thinking itself is not the problem, but the inability to stop thinking is, because when thoughts take over completely, they stop being tools and start becoming obstacles, turning even simple situations into complex problems. People who think too much often have powerful minds, capable of deep understanding and strong awareness, but without control, that power turns into noise, constant, overwhelming noise that makes it hard to focus, hard to decide, and hard to move forward. Not every thought deserves attention, not every possibility needs to be explored, and not every fear is worth the energy it consumes, because sometimes clarity does not come from thinking more, but from thinking less. The strongest shift happens when a person realizes that they don't need to solve every thought, analyze every feeling, or predict every outcome, because life is not meant to be controlled completely, it's meant to be experienced. And in that moment, when they begin to let go, even slightly, the noise starts to fade, the pressure begins to ease, and for the first time, their mind is no longer a place of constant tension, but a place where thoughts exist without taking over everything.